In this tutorial, I'm going to go over Canon's DSLR shooting modes. I will use Canon 60D and Canon 5D Mark II cameras to explain the shooting modes. But before I dive in, I would like to remind you to subscribe to my channel and also click on that bell icon so that you will be notified whenever I upload new tutorials. Going back to the tutorial, Canon categorizes its camera in 3 levels: entry level, advanced level, and professional level. This camera 60D belongs to the advanced category and this 5D belongs to the professional category. 5D has fewer shooting modes than 60D as it is geared for professionals, as they photograph in modes where they can have full control over camera settings. Let me start with the modes of 60D. Shooting modes for this camera are broken down into 2 categories: Basic Zone and Creative Zone. Basic Zone is geared for new photographers, whereas Creative Zone is for photographers who fall into intermediate and advanced level of camera users. In the Basic Zone, the camera works like a point and shoot. This mode here with the green rectangle is for fully automatic mode. The camera analyzes the scene and sets the optimum settings automatically. In this mode, all autofocus points will be used for focusing. Generally, the closest subject will be focused. Next, in the Basic Zone is disabling flash mode. This mode disables the flash and sets optimum settings automatically. It is meant for use in places where flash is not allowed, such as museums and theaters. This rectangle with CA is Creative Auto Shooting Mode. CA stands for Creative Auto. In CA mode, you can set certain functions such as depth of field, drive mode, flash firing, and ambience. In basic terms, depth of field is the area in focus when using a specific aperture setting. In fully automatic mode, you can only shoot 1 frame at a time when you release the shutter. In CA mode, you can choose to shoot 3 to 5 frames per second as you release the shutter. That is drive mode. In fully auto shooting mode, flash automatically gets activated if the camera thinks it requires a flash. In CA mode, you can control flash between auto flash, flash on, or flash off. This camera offers various ambient settings such as vivid, soft, warm, monochrome, etc. You can choose specific ambience in CA mode. In default setting, CA mode is the same as full auto mode. The icon of a figure is for a portrait mode. When you shoot in this mode, it blurs the background, making human subjects stand out. This mode also makes skin tone and hair look softer than in full auto mode. This icon with mountains and cloud is landscape mode. This mode is for shooting wide scenery or having everything in focus from near to far. In this mode, greens and blues also become more vivid and sharper than in full auto mode. This icon of flower is for close-up mode, which is for photographing close-ups of small objects. The running figure is sports mode for photographing moving subjects such as children or a game of basketball. The figure with star is night portrait mode, which is for shooting portraits at night. Now, let's go over shooting modes in the Creative Zone. P is Program AE mode. P stands for Program and AE stands for Auto Exposure. In Program mode, the camera automatically sets shutter speed and aperture for the exposure. In this mode, unlike Basic Zone, you will have to set your ISO, white balance, and other settings. Next is Shutter Priority AE mode. TV stands for time value. In this mode, you set the shutter speed and aperture is automatically set by the camera. So, it is like a semi-automatic mode. This mode is for shooting sports or subjects that are moving when action is more important. AV is for Aperture Priority AE. AV stands for Aperture Value. In this mode, you can set aperture and the camera sets shutter speed. You use this mode when depth of field is more important. M is for Manual Exposure. M stands for Manual. You have to set the shutter speed and aperture manually. In this mode, you have control over camera settings as opposed to camera automatically setting it for you. B is Bulb Exposure. In bulb mode, the shutter stays open as long as you press down the shutter release. You use bulb mode to photograph things such as night scenes, stars, and fireworks. C is Camera User Setting. You can register most of current camera settings, including your preferred modes, menus, custom function settings. This mode quickly gets you to your preferred setting and start shooting right away. Lastly, the movie camera icon is shooting video. Now, let's look at the shooting mode of this Canon's professional level DSLR 5D Mark II. Since this camera is geared for professional market, its basic zone only has full auto mode and creative auto mode. Just like in 60D, the full auto mode and CA mode in this camera work similarly. In full auto mode, which is the green rectangle, autofocus automatically sets to AI focus. Drive mode will be set to single shot, metering mode will be set to evaluated metering, and autofocus points are automatically selected based upon the closest point of the subject. Aperture and shutter speed is automatically set as well. The rectangle with CA is for creative auto shooting mode. This mode allows you to change brightness, depth of field, picture style, and other settings not possible on full auto mode. You can also control making the background blurry. In default setting, creative mode is same as full auto mode. Just like in 60D, P is for program mode. In this mode, you set aperture and shutter speed. And TV is for shutter priority and AV is for aperture priority. You set the shutter and aperture is set by the camera in TV. In AV, you set aperture and shutter speed is set by camera. And M is for manual exposure, where you set aperture and shutter speed manually. B is bulb exposure. In bulb mode, the shutter stays open as long as you press down the shutter release. You use bulb mode to photograph things such as night scenes, stars, and fireworks. In modes C1, C2, and C3, current camera settings can be saved, and a separate set of settings can be saved for each mode. This allows you to access particular settings of your preference right away. These are the shooting modes in these two DSLR cameras. Other Canon cameras might have slightly different shooting modes, but they are generally the same. In fact, with this knowledge, you can apply it to other camera manufacturers such as Nikon. They might have different nomenclature or different icons for shooting modes, but they more or less work similarly. That wraps up this tutorial for Canon shooting modes. If you have any questions or comment, please use the comment section below. Please subscribe to my channel and click on that bell icon to be notified when I upload new tutorials.